So first of all, Stephen, congratulations on such an emotional and inspiring film.
Thank you.
This is your second feature film as director, and the story is a sensitive subject matter. So why were you passionate to tell this story about Canada's dark history?
Well, when I read the book, it just affected me so much because, growing up here in Canada, honestly, they didn't teach you this in school. I didn't know anything about this subject matter. So when I read the book, I was shocked, angered, shamed. And I was just said, I have to do something. I have to do something about this story. This needs to get told. Obviously, it's come to light with the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Canada's becoming more aware. It's in the curriculum now, which is great. But I was just shocked at being a grown adult and go, how do I not know about this in my own country? And Canadians are so well loved around the world as being nice and wonderful people, which we are. But then you look at this sad part of our history, and I said, I've got to do something about this and tell this story.
Okay. How involved was Richard, who wrote the novel?
He was very involved at the beginning. I mean, he was, throughout everything, my producers were wonderful about keeping the communication open with him. We had several meetings together, and we had a wonderful screenplay written by Dennis Foon that when we all got together and I got the job, I said to Richard, I want more of your book in the script. Your book is so beautiful, because he writes very poetically and cinematically, and me as a cameraman turned director, his words just spoke to me. And I literally, as I read the book, I could envision the movie almost. And so I took more elements of the book and put them into the script, and Dennis did a great adaptation, and Richard, of course, was so thrilled that we were getting more elements of his book into the script.
I love how the film, and as I think it was Richard's and the team's idea as well, to make sure that newcomers are part of the film, and for new actors, giving opportunities for new actors. So is that true, and can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, that was one of Richard's goals and mine. So it was wonderful. Our symmetry between all of us were so great. As us as the non-Indigenous filmmakers with this amazing Indigenous book from a great, amazing Indigenous writer, we were all connected so well, perfectly, because we wanted to tell this story truthfully and honestly. And one of my first things was Richard and I were like on the same page. It was like, we got to cast all unknown actors. They need to be real. Everyone's got to be real. And I got so blessed because we literally went all across Canada, hundreds and hundreds of audition tapes, and we found everybody that's in the movie, and they just turned out brilliantly. They're just really, really good. And I tried to make the set as calm as possible because the nervousness of having the slate coming in and things like that. We tried to keep that at a minimum, and I just wanted the actors to concentrate. And obviously they all loved the book, so they all had read it. They know what the movie means to them, and so we really were all on the same page. So it made my job that much easier.
All three actors who play Saul, as well as the rest of the cast, they are outstanding. But I want to know, who was the most difficult to cast?
Oh boy. I don't know if they were difficult, but I would say the biggest challenge was to cast the Sauls, because there's an amazing talent of Indigenous actors in Canada and in the U.S., but I had to find three guys that kind of looked the same. Not only that they're talented actors, but that you would believe that little Saul turns into, the teenage Saul that turns into older Saul. That was probably the biggest challenge, was to find guys that looked similar and then also had the same mannerisms and all that kind of stuff. And Sladen, of course, who's our young Saul, he was our lead. We had to match. He's got this beautiful mole on his cheek, so we had to make sure we put it into the other actors so you would believe it, and it works.
How difficult was it battling the physical elements of shooting, as well as dealing with such a sensitive subject matter, as well as you have new actors?
It was, well, as you saw, the movie's very physical in its locations, the whole thing with God's Lake and all that. It's our first few days of filming, which is the worst thing to do with a new crew and all that, and the cast. We were on uneven ground and rock, so everything was very unsteady, so it was a pretty tough way to start. We did all the beautiful fall work in the Killarney Lake, and then we shut down for a few weeks to wait for winter, and then we went back, and then of course filming in winter, it's minus 20 out, and you're all huddled up, and people are out in the snow and the ice, and poor Edna, they have to make her lie in the snow, and so it was very tough physically, and it's been a great journey. But I was like, I look back at it now talking about the movie, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was a really tough day. Well, that was a really tough. I remember that day. Wow, so. Right. But we had an amazing casting crew, and everyone knew making this movie what we were making. Right. We just weren't making a commercial little fluffy movie. We were making a movie that matters and that was important, and I think everyone always realized that every day.